Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back everybody.
So, as always, guys, please do subscribe both channels, Evolutionary Energy Arts and EEARTS. We got about 5 more days to go in the timeout box over on Evolutionary before we get post over there. So everything will be up on EEARTS. And we just got done with our morning meditation and mantras, and Cindy got information that we wanted to share with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, this is just information about evolution and what we're going through now, and what's triggering right now. If you guys remember those that sun activity we had, what was it, about a week ago maybe? This really kicked off a sort of domino effect that's going to be increasing. So we can expect large amounts of awakenings in the next 3 months. Friends, family members, yourself moving into different places of perspective, understanding things that you didn't really understand before. A lot of epiphanies, a lot of aha moments. So this is what they were telling me when I was doing the meditation. That's kind of what's going on right now. A lot of really good stuff, but challenging at times.
Again, the sun is itself a relay from both the creator of this universe and of source in general. And Sita does a wonderful job keeping up with anybody and everybody that's in the area.
Yes. She's
And
the neighborhood watchdog.
she sure is. Boy, does she hear everything. A pin drops and she hears it. And that's good in these times because things are getting very, very chaotic out there. So what she has written down, and I don't even know if Cindy remembers what she was writing down because it seemed like she was half in a trance state. Large amount of awakenings next 3 months because of the recent solar activity. Planet energies are increasing, planetary influences increasing, both good and bad. It depends on the status of the body. And, so much, again, the body is the temple. That is true. We could find truth in every, basic philosophical system that's out there. There are always these universal truths that people have channeled. It always amazes me, too, that people will trust in channelings that are thousands of years old, but not sometimes even trust in the messages they're getting themselves, even when we don't know the real origin of these channelings. Again, everybody needs to develop your intuition so that you can see clearly. Let the light of thy eye be single, and then you'll have knowing. It's all about the pineal gland. They understand this. And what's happening is, we are truly awakening. We are awakening to all new degrees, and that is why they are in, full frontal panic/attack mode right now.
Yeah, they're going to do what they need to do to make sure they keep their cut of the influence, or that energy, that loosh that they need to keep everything going. Planetary influence is increasing, both good and bad, depending on the status of the body. So we know with astrology, it's basically the study of light and how it is reflecting off the body, and then our reactions to that. And in everybody's chart, you can see their planet status. Sometimes it's neutral, it could be a great friend, it can be debilitated. There can be, different issues, it can be exalted. Well, if you have planets that are in a bad state, it's important to know that what those are those lessons that you came here to learn. So that planet and the personality of that planet is going to show its negative side, and you work through that in this life. Very important, because that's kind of like our karma. So we want to understand nothing is really bad, but when you're born under a planet that has issues, one of your karmas is to simply work through those issues during your lifetime, and then yes, it definitely dissipates. Everything gets better in time.
So I see off on the corner here, they are trying to interrupt, which we know, the frequencies coming from source, coming from the creator of this universe with AI technology. Absolutely. Like we've said so many times, they got us conditioned in the decades past to lather on sunscreen all over us, much of which has cancer causing agents in it. And also, it's just simply blocking the light of the sun. Now, of course, too much of a good thing at one time can obviously overdo. And, there are some things that you can use in moderation. I think of wormwood, for instance. Wormwood is a substance you can use to help detox with. But if you get too much wormwood, it can make you sick. It's the same thing with the sun. So, again, sure, people can get skin cancer from the sun. I think a lot more people get skin cancer and other forms of cancer just from the other things, these chemical manufactured agents that are in our environment, than they do from the sun naturally. But still, it's possible. Too much of a good thing can be a bad thing. So they are obviously polluting the water. Important to have clean, healthy water. Use your intention. Again, Dr. Emoto's experiments with water shows that we can have a positive or a negative influence on the water. We should be praying, blessing our water, charging it, envisioning it being a powerful agent for positive change and detoxing in our body before consuming. One of the Qigong masters, that is one of our guides, who lived an abnormally long life according to this yuga, this age, he didn't speak as much about what he ate because he didn't eat a heck of a lot. He ate some leaves, he ate some roots, he ate things like ginger, he ate things, like certain berries, but
Mushrooms.
mushrooms, but he didn't eat a ton. He said it was the water that was more important.
Hmm. So, learning to clean our water is really, really important. There's a lot of information, a lot of different ways to do that, just in case, you don't have filters or you don't have access to things that clean your water. It's good that we know how to do these things in the 3D, as well as what Mike was talking about. Use your intention, because they're both very, very, very important. um, Communication influx, people's energies noticeably enhanced. This can be uncomfortable, so we know a lot of people who are finding it more and more difficult to be out and about in the world of frequency and AI, and even around other people that they once cared about, because they can feel the vibration frequency has changed in themselves. So when you're around someone that you're just not vibing with, it can be really exhausting, because it's like those energy frequencies, you can't see them, but they're trying to make a handshake. They are trying to understand each other and come to an agreement, meet each other in the middle. And even though we can't see that with our eyes, that's something that's happening, and it is exhausting. So if you guys are just deflated when you get home from a party, then or any kind of a gathering, understand that you might have to change the way that you do things for your own health.
Absolutely. So, going back to that right side of this board, after the water, the air pollution to slow evolution. Again, the system itself is toxic. Why is it toxic? Well, because it's all about shortening lifespan. It's also about decreasing the body's ability to absorb the new frequencies. Again, your body is your temple. So it's so important to be treating it right. And when we're abusive to our body, especially in these times, it's not going to take too much with all the toxicity of the world, all the frequencies, to disrupt the body to the point where it won't function anymore, i.e., literal physical death. And we're seeing so many people leaving this realm of existence right now for many reasons. And even if they weren't doing what they were doing, we still would have a lot of people leaving this realm at this point in time. There's a lot of decisions being made by the higher self, by the soul, so to speak. And people have a purpose when they come into this world. And some people's purpose, it could be accomplished at any point in time. Again, the question, why does somebody die so young. If I want to say, take my personal life, why did my brother die at 16? Why was he sick since he was 5 years old? What's the point in a life like that? Well, there's many points, a lot of which we can't see from this side clearly. In retrospect, as the years have gone on, I've seen how that's influenced me and the way I look at things, which ultimately, with this channel, has influenced millions of people. As both the channels, from what they show, it have altogether around 20 to 30 million views, and we know that's a much smaller amount than is reality. So, in a way, my brother's short life, it most definitely had a profound effect on many people, even when it's something that you might hear of and it doesn't necessarily occupy the forefront of your thoughts, but is working behind the scenes in other aspects of your brain. Because maybe it's like you hear of another circumstance and another circumstance of people that have left the world a little bit too soon or way too soon, and you change your ways, or you convince somebody else to change their ways, and then that person is somebody that has a positive effect on maybe hundreds more, and the hundreds become tens of thousands or millions. Again, it's a ripple effect in a pond. When we're throwing pebbles in a pond, and you see that the ripples might go on forever, and also through time. So we can have so much more influence on people and events than you realize in your own perhaps quiet little life. Maybe it's a life where you don't even leave your hometown or state, and you might think, I don't have a big influence on things, but you never really can see the bigger picture of your influence until we're outside of this reality.
Mm-hmm. There are many, many, many out there that are isolated and feeling like, well, I can't make a difference. I'm just me. I'm here. I don't reach anybody. I don't have a big audience, but your energy is such a huge influence. And that's really important to remember. They teach us in this world when we come in that the only things that are real is things that are in front of us and in the 3D. They don't teach us anything about energies and how they're influenced with our minds, and even influenced with our bodies. So holding that positive intention for certain situations in your life is really, really important. And also when it comes to going through different types of traumas, bringing those to the forefront and understanding the purpose behind them also helps us grow. It helps us find meaning and understanding. And ultimately, if it is supposed to, it helps other people, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to connect and help one another in a safe space so that we can heal. I think one of the biggest problems right now is the emotional dark age. I guess that's what I like to call it now. We're in an emotional dark age where we don't see the damage that our emotions have caused our 3D bodies, and we have to go back and kind of undo that, and find out where the problem started, and bring things to a point of healing and understanding, and allow that to release. Because once it does, our energy is now flowing at the highest rate possible, and we have an even bigger influence on those that we care about, and even the world around us, if we so choose.
Absolutely. So um, there's also this with the moon. So, do you want to get into that? More
Mhm.
positive influence from the moon in many aspects. Again, we recognize that the moon is not what it appears to be. That, again, there are legends all around the globe from these different societies that remember a time without the moon. The moon was moved into place, not, it didn't start with the earth, it isn't a piece of the earth. The moon, it has been used as a base. The moon is a ship in so many ways, although it was an actual satellite, a natural satellite that's been basically again hollowed out and used
as a base of operations for these dark forces. The moon is actually a fourth density um, structure, so to speak. So it's on the home density of these Anunnaki, Draco, AI beings. And what we see is basically a hologram that's placed on top of it. And it does have real effects on us. We can get effects from beings in other densities. Again, if you've ever been anywhere that's quote unquote haunted, and anywhere and everywhere could be haunted, as you know, we're always walking through beings. Beings are always walking through us all day long. But in some circumstances, there are these energetic imprints. And often you can feel a creepy crawly sensation on your skin. You could feel a cold patch. I was part of a paranormal research group quite a few years ago now, and we did do a lot of investigations. It was just fun. I found it fun, and I did do cleansings of areas where people were having a hard time living and working in certain areas because of interference from certain energies. Well, yeah, I mean, I've watched the thermometer just drop by like 7 degrees in a matter of minutes when some entities have entered the area. And so there's most definitely influence that entities can have on us, even though they might be on what we would call fourth density. And again, we are basically 1 foot, just our toes are dipping in fourth density right now, so to speak. So we are shifting. Everything about our reality is shifting. You can notice time is different. It's undeniable. Time is different. It feels to many people like it's really speeding up. So the moon was hijacked. The pyramids have been hijacked. The pyramids were put in place for benevolent reasons. They were put in place to, help mitigate big disasters. And so the dark team, so to speak, the dark Draco AI Anunnakian team, they hijack technologies and utilize it for their own purposes. So the same has happened with the moon. But the energy that's incoming is changing the energy that we receive from the moon.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, this I couldn't get a clear grasp on it, but what's happening is the sun and the earth are exchanging energies, and this is making it so the moon is not having such a drastic influence on us that's throwing us out of balance. So balance is coming to the top, but in order to find the balance, we still have to work through our traumas. Rahu, a very important energy in our lives, and Ketu, they're not planets, but they're very important influences on our lives. And what Rahu is, it's this energy of our passion, our desires, what we came here to do on this planet, and that energy is increasing in people coming into focus. What is my purpose here? What am I doing here? Rahu is really going to help us with that. Ketu. Ketu starts to take meaning, and Ketu is about spirituality. It's a very spiritual type of energy. So we're starting to find our path, and this all has to do with the moon and the earth and the sun and how they are exchanging energies to bring things into better focus for us.
Absolutely. So again, everything is kind of being redone in the natural order of things, and they are fighting this tooth and nail. Absolutely. So she's been talking about the planetary energy increase for enhancement of experience on Earth. And again, it's part of that natural yuga cycle. The planets are moving into position to cast frequencies for evolution 2023 to 2025. Full effects. If this is the most critical time period. We talked about the Pluto transit of the U.S. How again Pluto has come back to its full position back on February 22nd, 2022, of exactly where it was at the signing of the Declaration of Independence. This means the U.S. is going to receive energies that are going to naturally remake it, reshape it in some way, shape, or form. Well, the whole thing is going on with the planet too at the same time. We know there's these agendas underway, and those controllers that look at humans as nothing but a herd, just like a rancher, faced with drought, or some sort of situation where he knows he's not going to be able to keep the herd. He's not going to be able to keep the cattle. More than likely, most times, the rancher is going to just go ahead and cull the cattle and get what he could get for them now. And that's basically what's going underway right now on this planet in a big sense. Now, these beings understand the 3D, 4D very well. They've been watching us from the 4D. They do have people that are 3D focused life forms that do their dirty work for them. And they do also overshadow these people at the same time, i.e., basically like a form of possession. But again, Source and the creator of this universe are doing their best to help us speed along and get out from under their thumb and out of their system. Again, your body is also your temple, so it's so important right now to not be abusive to your body. And I've completely gone to all new levels, and my entire focus now is on just basically cleaning the temple, so to speak, cleaning the temple every way. So for me, it's probably 3 meditations a day. I understand that in this world it's hard for people to do that, but that was my old habit from decades ago when I started to do meditation on a regular structured basis. It can be done. We just have to make our priorities and recognize too what's going on the planet and how many people are leaving the planet and how many will leave the planet over the next 3 years and then over the next 7 to 8 year period. There's going to be a massive change in life on this planet. Now, we are going to exit the system, but they're doing their best to maintain control of their herd. So you see down here, there's going to end up being 3 groups of people. There's going to be 100% organic, what you might call those that are a mix of AI tech and still somewhat organic human. And then you're going to have humans that are basically nothing but an automaton. They're going to be completely AI controlled and driven.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yes, and this is where the uncomfortable feeling of things comes when people who are 100% organic are not going to be able to stand in the frequency at all of someone who is AI driven. Not only are they going to know that this person who's AI driven is getting information from a source that they don't believe in, it's just going to flat be uncomfortable. It's not going to feel good. So this is definitely going to cause a separation of energies in a very, very tangible way. So if anyone was wondering, what does that look like? Separation of energies. We're going to be on different densities in a way because we won't be able to stand in certain frequencies. And then there's people who just want to be in the mid-range and they're not sure. They're still not done. They have things they need to work on. It's important to note though that yes, separation of energies is underway.
Absolutely. And we've talked about safe zones and all, but the only true safe zone is within. That's the safe zone that needs to be cultivated. It's that inner knowing, it's that inner peace, and really it comes from cultivating the spiritual side of things. So you got to make your decision. Do you love this world so much that you're willing to reincarnate in another version of it under the same control grid and the same control system? Is it worth that much to you that you would perhaps risk going through multiple lifetimes, dozens, hundreds, thousands of lifetimes, coming back to the same system time and time again in order to have a large house and affluence and all the things that this world has to offer? Or would you rather make sure that you're staying 100% organic as much as possible, that you're cultivating the best you from a spiritual standpoint, maybe that means, that you don't have as much as far as goods go, because, you have to end up changing what you're doing, what your job is. You have to maybe you do have to move. Maybe you do have to leave the city because you start to notice that you can't sleep. You get constant headaches, or you're having problems with digestion and eating, or you just don't feel good. And maybe that means that you have to, leave a job as a doctor, a lawyer, something of a very high position, bringing in high money, in order to move outside of the city where you're not barraged by all the FIVEG, all the different frequencies, the entire control grid constantly barraging you day in, day out. You're going to have to make these decisions. And I understand now personally why I have gone through what I have gone through, because multiple times in my life, I basically gave up security in a good corporate job, and also, left relationships and even friends, and left, from one area of the country, and have gone to other areas, driving in a junker car with just whatever I could fit in a tiny subcompact car, with maybe a couple $100 of cash available, and at one time $30,000 worth of credit card debt, and nothing to speak to my name. But I got the clear message from spirit, because that's what my focus was always on. And it's gotten stronger over the years, and the trust has grown, even when it seems like what I get as a message doesn't make any sense. Where, again, leaving something that's security in order to not even take a chance, but just something that I feel that I'm being directed to do for a higher purpose that I can't even understand at that time. But it's led to growth, and it's led to being able to finally start to do my mission in life. As if you asked me at 40 years old, what do you want to do with your life? Are you doing what you want to do? My first answer would be no, and I'm not doing what I want to do. What do you want to do? I don't really know. I just want to help people in some way, shape, or form, but I just don't know how. And, for me personally, it was somebody saying to me, you have amazing energetic gifts and you should use them. I've been to all these different energy workers, healers, and I've never felt anybody with energy like you. And I was like, what, you could actually do this as a job? And they were like, yeah, of course. And so, that's what I did. And it immediately took off. And just within a few weeks, I had as much business as I could want. And then I had the moral dilemma of not wanting to use this monetary system. But there's a transition period. And that's going to be coming up shortly too. As we know, they are going to be switching to that digital system. Again, it's another level of control. And you're going to have to decide, again, do you value things, or do you value, yourself more?
Mm-hmm. And everybody has to come to that conclusion when it's time on their own. And you will know too, when your Rahu energy or your purpose comes into focus, you'll definitely feel it, and it'll become no denying. Usually people's health starts to get involved, and they realize, oh my, I need to make changes. This just isn't an option anymore. So you start to look around for changes, and you manifest. Things will manifest, and they will come through for you. And understanding what part of you needs to be healed will be coming to the surface too. It is a difficult time. Spirituality and awakening is not for sissies. It is not easy. Nobody tells you it's like trying to give a cat a bath when you get put into alignment, or when you have a soul alignment. It can be difficult, but it can also be the most beautiful, most important thing you could do for yourself and your entire family, ancestors, children, grandchildren, because it pulls everybody else into alignment when you focus on you. And that's where we are at.
So we've talked also briefly, and we'll just conclude on this, about alignments of the planets. And so there is an alignment of the gas giants that our friend David Devine has been talking about for quite a while now. And again, that's an alignment that is a big evolutionary alignment for the planet. And again, we don't believe in Darwinian evolution, but evolution is part of the process of how things develop that's put in place by the creator of this universe.
You know, and I pulled up a mundane chart to take a look at that, and the energy on this planet is very important. It says that people are here to tie up their loose ends because they're going to another place, another realm. It puts spirituality in the home. It brings knowledge and wisdom to the forefront. So these energies are going to really be changing. But with planets, it's never a situation where, okay, this day is this and the next day is that. The energies always blend, and they always take time coming into focus, and then there's focus for a little bit, and then things move on. So that's important to understand what the energies actually are going to be like during that time. They're very, very transformative, extremely transformative.
Absolutely. So we hope you guys got some info. Please do share what you want to go deeper into, any questions that you have, and we'll do our best to try to get to them. As always, thanks for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. We couldn't do it without you guys. Much love. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.